Good evening, everybody. Well, the potato is on his way and we're lit. So, look at that, right on time. Good evening, Mr. Potato.
I said,
And
I
oh,
said
there
the
we go.
show starts when I get here. I'm always on time.
Oh, I thought for sure I couldn't hear you at first, and I thought like I'm notoriously fucking all this audio up, and I thought, oh, here I did it again. And this was my big shot.
This was it.
This was it. We're gonna bring you on. Um, so thank you for this. It's
Welcome.
yeah, I know that you pity us poor people,
I do.
and that's why you're on here, and I
That's
keep
a
getting.
hideous green screen, by the way.
Is it which one? The yellow one or the black, the green one or
The one behind you. That's like a hideous shade of green.
Yeah, it's because of OBS for some reason doesn't particularly like it, and I've adjusted the similarity, and then when I do that, I wind up with weird facial things. So it's rough being ugly. Not something that you would know because you're such a good-looking guy.
That is true. That's a fact, Jack.
Is that any better?
No.
Does that make you happy?
No. Why do you use OBS?
Because I started with StreamYard, so I was using OBS for the StreamYard, and I just started with Evmux a couple of days ago, and so I was just using OBS with the virtual cam.
Understood. Show over yet?
Does that not make any sense? Well, you're supposed to answer my questions. So no, it's not over yet, but we'll work on it. I'll do my best to get you through this very
You're
quickly.
very blotchy now.
Exactly. That's what I said when I goddamn potato. Every time I try to do anything, it always what do you call it? That's the word that I was looking for was blotchy.
Well, that's what you get. That's what you get for trying.
I don't know why. I don't even know why I bother. It's
No one does.
it is interesting though because I'm an old man and it's fun to watch young people mess up and they're like, oh, I have audio issues and the video wasn't working. But when it's me, it's like, oh, that fucking boomer. They can't do anything right, those people. So
Are you a boomer?
I think I'm on the edge. What year did it end?
1994.
Okay, so yeah, then I'm a boomer.
All right, congratulations.
Anyway, thank you for coming on, and I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
And the first one is it's been disclosed that after Trump was elected, you moved to Canada.
Yes. Yes.
And
not before though. I was a proud American until that day.
But you've renounced your citizenship and you've become a full-blooded Canadian.
Allegedly, for now.
And all right, I just want to ask, as a Canadian, do you feel uncomfortable constantly bothering a wholesome, all-American boy like Chad Zumach?
No.
Bringing down your Canadian...
no.
You're
it's
like...
It's my duty.
Now, do you do that to help Americans, or do you do that just for yourself, or...
I do that to help the world. Actually, I realize that's the one thing I can do to help the world just a little bit is to expose one Chad A. Zumach.
So if you had to pick the first, say 3 things about him that annoy you the most, what would they be?
That annoy me the most?
Yeah, the things that get you the most, that make you... Because it's
the stuff that gets me the most is when he really does fuck hard with Ray, like when he starts calling Ray's gigs and again I guess it's the hypocrisy that he scream like the way he goes after Ray like he feels he's on any level above Ray in any way, which he's not. But when he does literally fuck with his gigs and stuff, it was that shit when he started calling for whatever that club was. It was around that time, if you'll notice, my coverage of him really started to ramp up. Like, okay, he's going to really be an asshole to Ray. I'm really going to show him what it's
Ray used to tell me that stuff, and I used to disbelieve him. I'm like, oh, you're kidding. It's not really happening. And then you realize it really is happening.
Well, he did it on his show, for fuck's sakes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, before that, he was doing it too.
Yeah,
Before
yeah,
he
yeah.
did it, before he did it on his
Oh
show.
yeah, yeah. That
And
I mean, when I had run-ins with him before, and the emails that I got from him, the shit that he tried to do to me, that's I'm not even pissed at that anymore. It's whatever. It's old news, but he's still a piece of shit. And if he's going to continue to go on a show calling everyone else losers and pieces of shit, I'm going to expose him for it. So
yeah, I do think it's pretty. I will give him credit because he's just such a liar. It doesn't even seem to bother him anymore. But
no.
and then you guys talked about him calling Melton's relatives and all the emails,
Hmm.
and then he's on Kevin's show like, oh, Melton's just a bitch. You
Yeah,
could
he's a
just
pussy.
block me. Yeah,
And and the email and I'm not speaking for Melton. I haven't even talked to Melton about it, so I don't even know. But I'm guessing here, if there was a police report filed, Chad said there is, so that means there probably isn't. If there was one filed, it had nothing to do with the emails. It would be the calls to his family that are the problem.
right, the ones that he didn't make.
Yeah, yes, of course.
That are all being made up.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because he's so predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he comes on and says, "Oh, I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to meet my trainer,"
Mm-hmm.
and then the stuff comes out about the things that he was doing at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's prepping this stuff, and I feel bad for the dude because, in a way, because it's like this has to be fucking taxing. How do you get to be 50 years old and be in that situation?
I don't know. And legitimately, when I'm on my stupid show screaming that Chad should get a job and Chad should not be buying Jordans and Chad should be saving for his retirement, I'm actually trying to give him advice. He should be planning a little bit. What was that? The tortoise and the hare. You know, where the tortoise saved for a rainy day and the hare didn't. Remember that story?
The rabbit, yeah, the rabbit and the hare with the was the
no.
the
What
race.
was the
One
no?
was,
Not the race. What was the one? What was the one? The rainy day, or the?
I don't know.
Damn it!
You got me on that one, but I think we got the point.
Yeah.
But luckily my chat will know.
The rainy day's coming. Is what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying. Rainy day's here. Let's be honest. Stop buying Jordans, retard.
I talked to Ray about that because I said to Ray, I go like, what are you doing with your future? Ray's solution is he's going to die when he's 58 because that's what everybody in his family does. And I'm like, but even now, like
The ant and the grasshopper. Thank you, Johnny Chops.
thank you. If he broke his, I said to him, I go, you break your ankle, you'd be out of work if you weren't able to drive. So it's an interesting universe that we live in.
It is. We observe. I try not to live in it. I try to observe it.
Okay.
I guess I live in it.
Yeah, well, you're one of the best observers there are because
That's a fact,
pull,
Jack.
yeah, you do pull a lot of like I saw Stoneman 623 was in here earlier,
Good
and
egg.
one of my favorite Cardiff things of all time was the Kensington camera.
That was a moment.
And
That was a moment.
right, and obvious, and like I'm such a amateur, old, unfunny. I'm like, how could this be funny? Like that was my first thought, and then you just your commentary on it turns it into something hilarious, and then Stoneman showing up waving at you, and you expressing real concern, like get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
'cause
run.
You didn't want to have his murder on your hands the next day.
Well, the funny thing about that moment, I would probably I started watching those Kensington cameras a few weeks after I went to there he is. There's the man.
That's Stoneman.
A few weeks probably after I took a trip to Vancouver. Have you ever heard of Vancouver?
I have.
Yes, it's on the west coast of this country that I am now not a citizen of, but I live in.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't sworn an oath to the hockey puck yet. You have to. That's what you do here. You put your hand on a stack of hockey pucks and you pledge allegiance to the goal.
I wear my Winnipeg Jets hat with pride.
I was surprised. I was shocked. But the homeless situation in Vancouver, as bad as Kensington is, Vancouver is actually worse. It's horrendous. And I was right in, like, where Stone Man was standing. I was like right in the middle of it for, like, I got stuck in this 2-block radius where there was no escape. You had to just kind of keep going forward. There was no turning off left or right. All the side streets were worse. So it's like, put your head down and run. And you just smell piss and shit and death, and there's zombies there. It was I swear I felt like I was in The Walking Dead. So when I was watching Stone Man standing there, I knew exactly what he was smelling, what he was standing in, what he was exposed. I'm like, yeah, I really did feel like, get the fuck out of there. But Vancouver is a shithole, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and you know, we Americans think that there's no homelessness in Canada, and that everything is perfect. All the health, other than the cold weather, you're great. And then it turns out that
No, it's
most Canadians live south of a bunch of U.S. states,
yeah.
right? You, Toronto and those places are south of like North Dakota, parts of Minnesota, Minnesota.
I mean, there's that entire penis of Ontario that is more south than a lot of the U.S. Ontario's penis. Look at it on a map. It's penis.
Yes. Okay.
It's fucking the Great Lakes.
It is. Yes. Okay.
It's true.
Only you, for some reason, would figure that.
No, it's
out.
true. It was one Great Lake until Ontario started fucking them.
Were you like the annoying kid in school with like a teacher where she'd like say, "Oh, Italy's the boot," and you'd be like, "No, it looks like it's a hanging penis."
Dude, I was literally a picture perfect student until 7th grade. I was like model student. Every teacher loved me. I was Johnny, bring the teacher an apple every morning. Like I was the perfect student till the 7th grade.
Were you touched or something? I mean, what?
No, 7th grade. I walk into class the first day, and the teacher looks at me and she says, "Cardiff, I want you to sit beside him, Marco." And Marco was a giant, like the most disrupt. Like this guy had a reputation. I don't think I'd ever been in a class with him, but you heard the rumors of this guy. He was always getting suspended. He was always getting in trouble. He was always a shit disturber. She thought putting me next to him I was gonna be a good influence on him. But what ended up happening? let me put it this way: I achieved my first suspension that year. What ended up happening was I was influenced very much by that young man. So
that's and
ruined my life.
And that's the turn.
And that's the turn.
And were you
7th
always
grade?
Like, and you're not a small guy. Were you always big? Like, when did you start getting really tall?
I was always back row near the center in the class pictures. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I was always in the front.
Yeah, you're always sitting down.
I was a little boy.
A wee lad.
And my turn came in 5th grade when the first day of class.
I didn't ask you.
I know. The first day of class, the teacher, they showed up in the room, and then our regular teacher said she wasn't going to be there anymore. Mm-hmm. And she went out, had a little conversation with the new teacher. The new teacher came in and walked up to me and said, "We're not going to have a problem, you and I, are we?" And that was the end of my calm academic career. I was just in trouble all the time.
I made a French teacher quit.
Wow. Yeah. And you know it was you, or
I was definitely part of it. It wasn't just me.
And you speak French, right?
Oui.
Right,
non,
Jacques?
non, je ne parle français.
That's a fact, Jacques?
Je ne pas.
No. All right, so I do love that people think that I can be serious. Mm-hmm. Buckman from Oscar Electric. Only idiots think there are no homeless people in Canada. Mm-hmm. I can't stand being surrounded by the morons of the Dabbleverse. You think that really?
Yes, Buckman.
Yeah, this is what I think.
Mm.
Um, and Dirty Deeds. Wow, I haven't seen Dirty in a while. I was on a business trip in Toronto in 2019, and I wound up in the middle of the Raptors victory parade. What a great trip! Wow,
That
very
was
exciting.
that was an exciting time.
And you're in that. What do you call it? You're in that area, I
I'm
believe.
close.
Not
I'm
close,
close.
close, but you talked about
Within an hour
you were going to take Rich
ish.
Voss golfing.
Oh, did I talk about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I love Voss because what was his response was like, "You're paying for it" or something.
Yeah, it was something I should find the email somewhere. It's like it was something like, as long as you're paying, I'm there. Because I heard him on Opie and Anthony talking about how he would just, he would go to a town and fans would email him, and just offer him golf, and he would go. And I'm like, really? He would? All right.
And
You're close, Dirty Deeds. You're close. And I was like, well, maybe I should email him. He's coming to town. But I just stiffed. I forgot what he said. He was like, as long as you're paying, I'm going. I'm in. And then I think like a day or two before, I'm like, I don't want to golf with Voss. And I just never emailed him again.
did you just not show up, or
I don't think we ever like said, I'll pick you up at this time, or like, I don't think we ever got that far. I should go back and look, but I just kind of said, I'm not doing this.
wow?
Yeah.
And I could, but I'm sure Voss had other people that wanted to do it. But
I'm sure not.
This is like those guys that whole crew. They were notorious for getting free stuff from people and having them take them places.
Jews?
Yeah, Jews. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
The NJ Ranger 201 Cardiff's email. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
And yeah, I think Oscar might have a little bit he might have a little bit of a rash or something. This is a retarded conversation. You made a plan to do something, but you never showed up, and you never contacted each other. Social misfits.
Yes.
Wow.
No, I did as a goof. Like, I'm like, there's no way. Like, okay, so I'm listening to Opie and Anthony. So I think I always had this. Even stand-up comedians, like listening to Opie and Anthony, listening to Howard Stern, stand-up comedians were big stars as far as I was concerned, right?
Right.
They were touring the world. They were doing stand-up. They had all these fans. They were on Opie and Anthony. Like these guys were it. So like when I heard Voss is just like going golfing with just listeners, I'm like, that can't be true. Like he's a big comedian. He couldn't possibly be. And I think I just did it as a goof, as an experiment. It's like, wow, he actually is. Okay, I guess he's a loser. I don't want to go golfing with losers. I'm a shitty golfer anyway. I probably would embarrass myself. So
that what do you call it? Yeah, well, I'm a shitty golfer too, but you get to spend the day with Voss, so
exactly why I didn't email him.
You'd become part of it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people that want to get like close to the comedians, and they're like, oh, he wants to be part of my act. Like they want to be part of his act.
Mm-hmm.
You're
not going to use this, are you?
They're gonna, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. And well, your first pair of tits that you signed belonged to my wife.
Well, that's what I told you, but sure.
Outside the shirt,
allegedly
on the T-shirt, allegedly. And
also, where was that again? Was that Detroit or was that Pottstown?
I think it was Pottstown.
It was Pottstown. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, it was Pottstown. And I think you volunteered to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got all red and embarrassed. And she was like, yeah, sure. I think that was back when you were not only masked, but traveling with a cane, possibly.
Well, did I still have no, I had a neck brace, I believe.
Neck brace.
I had a neck brace. I had a disgusting, dirty neck brace, an homage to Yucko the Clown, I think.
It was, that was one of the best. So Pottstown was a shit show, for lack of a better way to describe it. And it's hard for anyone that wasn't there to understand how bad not the show necessarily, but the way it went. And you came out and you were reading off index cards. It was the first time I saw you perform live. You were reading off index cards. And I quickly I realized, oh my God, he's doing Chad's Dale Maybury joke.
Yes. Word for word. I didn't want to miss a single word.
And I kept tapping the people around me going, he's doing Chad's jokes. I thought it was really fun. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to have it. They were there for Perry. That was what I learned that night.
I don't even think there was audio of that because I think a few times people were like, I was losing the crowd too. And I was like, fuck you. We're finishing this.
I know.
This is happening.
I know. That's what Ray got run off the stage. I mean, he said, I wasn't going to do my good material and blah. But do you remember the drunks up front?
Yeah,
as you're on the stage, they'd be to your right.
I think so.
They were drunk and yelling like through the entire show, and you couldn't, and the sound was bad anyway. You couldn't hear anything, and Soul Joe's has zero security.
Oh, I know. That's a fact, Jack.
And people kept walking over to the guy who was supposed to be the security guard saying, hey man, these people are a real problem. Like you got to get them, you got to do something. And he'd walk over and go like, hey guys, could you keep it down? Could you keep it down? But they literally chased Ray off the stage.
That's okay. They're not all bad, I guess.
Yeah, so.
But no, there was no security. Like people were walking backstage too. Like, so there we were in the backstage. People just showed up back there. People just walked back. That's where I first met Teamster Tim. And I was like, who is this guy?
Yes. Who you yelled at the next day, and he's never forgiven you for treating him poorly.
How did I yell at him?
No pictures.
Yelling. We're sitting in a nice Hampton Inn breakfast area, enjoying shitty eggs. And I still think Ray is a fucking idiot because he was sitting there doing an entire bit on the coffee and hotel breakfast places. This hotel has this. Like, Ray, this should be your show. Do like hotel coffee reviews with Ray DeVito. Do something other than what you're doing.
Yeah, because it's funny you say that because Ray's done that bit with me, and then there's the story of OJ getting excited about the pancake machine.
He didn't know what it was.
Right, he didn't know what and I was thinking like, oh man, that's perfect, Ray.
It's Cleveland. Something about Cleveland.
I've never seen this thing before. All right.
The waffle iron. It was a waffle iron.
It was a waffle iron. Okay. There's another one that's a pancake. Have you seen the pancake one?
Like the conveyor pancake thing?
Yeah, the conveyor pancake. I was at like a Holiday Inn Express or something, and it put its logo in the middle of the pancake.
It's amazing.
When it came out.
I have to say, I want to make a controversial statement if I can.
Mm-hmm.
I once stayed at the Best Western in Orlando near Universal Studios. And they had buckwheat waffles. And they were the greatest waffles I've ever eaten in my life. And I've never experienced them anywhere else. No one else ever had those buckwheat waffles.
And Best Western is not known for its
quality. I was shocked. I loved these waffles. They were the best. I wanted to take batter home with me. I filled a bag up, actually. I filled up bags of batter.
Have you tried to replicate it?
No.
Because your partner Tukey would be breaking it down to its essential parts. And
it's not a bagel.
Be cooking them in the backyard.
It's not a bagel. But yeah, those were great waffles. That's all. Just a side note. Sorry. If anyone's in Orlando, pop into the Best Western. See if they're still there. Send me a waffle. Thanks.
Yeah, send some waffles to Canada. See if we can get them through customs. The one that I went to one where I think it was like a Holiday Inn, one of the Holiday Inn Expresses or something, and they had the waffles were pre-wrapped in plastic, and you took them out of the refrigerator.
Well, you put them in the toaster?
You put it, yeah. You would microwave them.
Who the fuck microwaves a waffle?
Yeah, and it was just like this. And they kept talking about their great continental breakfast, and I'm like, oh no, man, this sucks. No,
continental breakfast always sucks. Buffets can suck my dick too, if we're gonna be frank.
Say that again.
Buffets can also suck my dick.
Okay.
Not a fan.
I gotcha. All right. Hey, potato pancakes are great.
Know your name, Stephen Bravo.
Coming after you. So, and then that was, So that was my first time meeting you, but what really turned me on to you guys, it had turned me into a fan forever, was
My
you and
penis.
Tukey catching Chad's attacker
Ah, yes.
and doing a whole
The interview.
and yes, the interview with the attacker.
Yes.
And my favorite, other than the interview
I
itself, my
I
favorite
have
part of that.
I have to find that, by the way. I have to get that from the
My
Lost YouTube channel.
You also have to get Brennan's show from the next day, where he absolutely lost his mind because he like went out of his way to listen to it. He was convinced it was going to happen, and he yells and screams for like an hour,
Oh,
as if you did this to him personally.
I do
Like,
need that.
how dare they do it? It was very funny. I really, it was just one of the best.
We
But
we
I
watched
also,
we watched one of the MLCs from a few nights after that, but we were mostly watching because I came on. Kevin actually brought me on to confront Chad. Chad bitched out, so we watched that. I think Saturday night on my show. But yeah, Kevin was still pissed that he watched this whole intro, and he had to watch E-Rock and Brian Johnson and over again. He was just complaining about my intro because he had to see E-Rock.
and you guys went on for a long, like it went on for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
The lead up to it. And was there any rehearsal to that at all, or did you just figure you'd wing it?
We talked. We were like the kind of writing down nonsense like 10 minutes before the show. Like, let's come up with an outline of what we're gonna do. But I think that's where we learned. It was around that time where me and Tukey and even OJ, believe it or not, we realized we play off each other pretty good sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
that was what, and I think I made a comment about that, and I was like, wow, that was the greatest thing I ever just witnessed in the Dabbleverse. And you were like, oh, you're the one, because it really did.
You should watch Dabblecourt. I think Dabblecourt was better.
I have seen Dabblecourt. Dabblecourt needs to come back.
I've tried to bring people into Dabblecourt. They keep refusing for some reason. They don't think I'm a fair and balanced judge, I guess.
Well, and Dabblecourt, if that was the Kevin Dumbfuck, right?
It was Kevin Dumbfuck versus Kevin Dumbfuck versus B Dabbler.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Because Kevin Dumbfuck's name lives in infamy for pissing on OJ's clothes.
Yes, that's fact, Jack.
I was just happy to find out that OJ wasn't wearing them at the time.
I was disappointed.
I know. Well, and then I would have thought OJ might have had something to do with it.
I still to this day believe OJ asked for it.
And he couldn't do it to OJ, so he did it on his clothes. Is that the
No, he just wanted. That's OJ's thing. He likes to put on a nice pair of cold, wet, piss smell jeans in the morning.
Yes, and they're very expensive jeans.
They were designer.
They are. Yes, he goes out. He's the last guy. When I met him at DabbleCon last August, I guess it was. He's the last guy that wears designer jeans.
Bedazzled jeans.
In red, yes, and in that crowd, it's easy to stand out. You buy your clothes at Target instead of Walmart. You're a star.
Just look for the guy without track pants on. That's OJ.
the one, or the guy who's not wearing the shorts. The size 50 shorts.
Yeah. Jankos.
There's a lot of I don't know if it was you or Tukey, but not Tukey. One of the guys, somebody was complaining that they couldn't get a 5XL shirt, and it blew me away. Yeah, it was just very funny.
Was it? I am not a 5XL, so it wasn't me. Close.
No, it wasn't you. It was one of the dabblers.
Oh.
Was like, oh, I really want one, but they don't have any 5XLs, and I was embarrassed at my size.
Should be.
Let alone that. Yeah, well, not no more.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Thank you. But I do love I love the Dabbleverse, because when I showed up at an event and had lost a bunch of weight, the first question was, "Are you okay? You don't really look good." And I was, fuck you.
Who hurt you?
Who hurt you? Yes. How do you feel about the pineapple stealing your filter gimmick?
Son of a bitch. I think I gave him the filter gimmick, so I probably don't care.
I thought he had a like. I thought I thought he asked for it. He didn't. I don't think he asked you, but he asked for it and didn't get it.
I know I gave
Uh,
it to somebody. I know
then
I gave it to a bunch of people. I think I gave it to him actually.
you
I
gave it
helped.
to me,
Oh, did I
but
give it to you?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I was having uh, my face was going to be burned off,
God.
and you gave it to me. So I just did podcast for 2 weeks. Um, but yeah, no, he went. He asked, I think OJ for it. OJ told me he wasn't allowed to give it to him. Um, and then he went to like 3 or 4 other people, and they kept saying, "No, you can't have it. You can't have it." And he just found it by searching it out himself.
And look what he's done with it.
I
So
know.
that's proof positive that it's not the filter that means anything. It's the
He
person
does. Yeah,
behind.
he does stream a lot. That's
He
for sure.
does. He does. He's very. He does waste a lot of time. You're right.
This is, that's kind of like, it's funny because some of these people, I just see some people that are on all the time,
Mhm.
and they have very few viewers. And just to pick on him, Johnny Crutches is one. He does like a 4 or 5 hour show every day and
Mhm.
never gets more than 20 viewers. And I'm always I'm fascinated by that. I'm like, it like it's fun to do. I like streaming and stuff, but I couldn't imagine devoting that much energy to it. It could, because it would mean I wasn't working.
Yeah. Yeah. See that? Well, that's weird because when Schmuel, when me and Tukey were coming up in this business, this is how I feel like I'm talking right now. It's going to sound retarded, but like when we were first doing streams, we were streaming to 10, 20 people. Like I was doing my first Cardiff show. I was doing a character on Twitch kind of before Cardiff for like 3 people. And I did it for weeks, and I was working on this stupid gimmick I was doing, which evolved into Cardiff. That's another story for another day. But when I don't know, as long as you're always seeing more, as long as you're always seeing growth, it kept me going. Like I did 5 one day, and then the next day was 7. It was like, holy shit. If I did a show today and there were 7 people watching, close to the amount of people that are watching right now, I would be very disappointed. But there was always progression, right? There was always growth, and I think that's what keeps it fun for Eckel.
No, I know.
That is his real name.
I'm just breaking his
I know.
balls.
How dare
Well, I'll dox him. His name is Luke. Shockingly.
dare you?
I do enjoy
I've been warned you're a doxer, by the way.
me.
People that heard I was doing this show today reached out to me and said, "Be careful. He's a doxer." Are you a doxer, Schmuel?
No, I've never doxed anybody. I'm really too stupid to be doxing people.
You are stupid.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Right. And to quote Tukey, I'm a ghoul as well.
That is a good descriptor.
Yeah. I love when I get mentioned in other places because it's always it's always some negative comment. And that was pretty funny.
I think you should wear like a Grim Reaper hood to do your show.
People say that I am the Grim Reaper. Somebody said that I will be knocking on the Grim Reaper's door. So I feel like I'm the Grim Reaper's Reaper.
I don't believe. Oh yes. You will definitely be pulling the scythe out for the Grim Reaper. Is it a scythe?
It is a scythe. Yes.
It is a scythe. Thank you. That's a fact check.
I'll be going out there.
How old are you?
63.
Wow.
Go ahead, say it.
What?
That I look much older.
I wasn't going to say that. I just said, wow. I was shocked. I thought you were 49.
Yeah, I wish. Those days are gone. But that's part of what interests me in the Dabbleverse and stuff, is watching a bunch of these people like the Chads, that, and the Joey C's, that they're constantly remaking themselves.
Yes.
And it goes nowhere.
I mean, they're just changing the title.
Right. But also lots of talk about, I'm going to plan this and I'm going to plan that, and nothing ever happens. Nothing ever changes.
Yeah. Well, listen, look at what happens when these people do try to plan things. We get a lanyard. I mean, that's
Uh,
about as far as he can get. I think Joey C made a poster for an event that he's not having in 2026. He's got the poster,
he
nothing else.
well, he's got yes, and he's raising. You got off early last night because I know you wanted to prep for this.
Yes.
Um, but he is sending out press kits, trying to raise $3,900 a piece from the wealthy
Oh yeah,
in
I did
right
hear. I did hear.
in
I was listening a little bit as I was dozing off last night.
i-
Yeah,
in Tampa, because he's going to yes, he wants
he's
to
going to rent a
help the
space.
teens.
Yeah, he's going to buy a building and fucking start Joey C Enterprises.
It's so funny. It reminds me of the Adam Bush episode where he's being interviewed,
Mhm.
and he's telling Adam like all these great things that he does and how he's going to help people and whatnot. And I'm like, Joey, get yourself together a little bit first, maybe before.
Joey should invest in a cooler and a couple cases of Coca-Cola and just sell cans of Coca-Cola on the street.
He'd be
better.
He'd be good at that.
He would be great at that. He would be fantastic at that. Hustling cans of Coke in the streets of Tampa. That's what he's born to do.
He'd be great. Yes, he would be great. He'd be great to have the camera on all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Get cans of Coke and a cooler and sit there with an umbrella and sell Coke and talk to people as they walk by.
That's a show.
And do it in different places. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy his walk and talks are probably are very funny, but he does do things like the mine when somebody gave him the, what do you call that? The metal detector.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't figure out how to turn the beeper off. It's great because it's what I do, but only funnier.
Yes.
So there you go.
Jack. That's a fact, Jack.
Yeah, it is a fact, Jack. So how did you wind up in the Dabbleverse though? Like, were you interested? Like, were you a Stern fan or
my house fell on Stuttering John, and it was in a tornado. And no, I was that's the thing I was going to say actually when we were talking about Eckel. I'll go back to this, but it was what I was fascinated by with Eckel and Clay Dabbler, and there was Dabble Story and a lot of Brits. Rochi, I believe, claims to be a Brit. There's a lot, like it's amazing that there's that much interest in this all the way over there. Because again, to answer your question, yes, I was a Stern fan. I was a Stern fan first, and then I got because Stern came on the radio here. Stern showed up in Toronto and Montreal. It was his first stations in Canada. He was off the air in Montreal in 3 days. I think 2 or 3 days. He said something about Quebec, and they're nuts there. You can't insult them. They're all thin skins. But they took him off the air right away. And in Toronto, they kept him on the air, but they and sorry, before that, a friend of mine, we got a VHS copy of New Year's Rotten Eve. So that was my first exposure to Stern. And then when I heard this show is coming to Toronto, I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna be crazy. I was listening for day one, like it was a big fucking deal that he was coming. Anyway, but so then what the Toronto station started doing, instead of kicking him off, Montreal just said, fuck you, you're gone. Toronto's like, we're keeping him because everyone was listening, but we're going to be more careful with him. And they started putting him on a delay.
Uh-huh.
And they started editing stuff out. And you could tell like stuff was getting cut out of the show. And I don't know where I heard, but someone told me, because there was internet, barely. But someone told me that there was a station in Buffalo that has Howard Stern on, and you can get it live and not unedited, like not censored, like it was here. And it was actually better for me because I was closer to Buffalo than I was Toronto. Docs. So it was perfect. I actually had to put a bigger antenna on my. I installed a powered antenna on my car just to pick up this signal better from Buffalo. But so I discovered I could listen to Howard Stern there, and then they had Don and Mike after Howard Stern, which I would kept listening to. Like I'm like these guys are pretty good. And then afternoons was this Opie and Anthony show that I never really knew anything about before. So I kind of came up listening to all three of those guys. I didn't leave my vehicle a lot. I got in a lot of trouble. I always had a radio on, I had headphones in. I was like, it was, I spent a lot of time listening to the fucking radio. I'm a loser.
I got into a lot of that. I would get into this similar trouble with Opie and Anthony, but they were great. I used to listen to NEW, which was a music station. Used to have it on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day there was Opie and Anthony, and I found myself laughing, and it was fun to go through that because the other jocks hated them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because talk radio on FM will never succeed. But by that time, I'd sort of left Stern mostly because of the commercials. This is pre-satellite, because he would do 20, 25-minute commercial breaks. And I would get in my car, I would put them on. And then by the time I got to work, the commercial would start. By the time I got to work, it was still a commercial.
And now I know what you're talking about with Stern, but that was the one benefit to having the Toronto feed delayed. I don't think they had as many commercials either, but when there was a commercial on the Buffalo station, I could always flip back to the Toronto station to hear almost hear a replay. Right. And it became fun because I would go back and listen and hear everything that they cut out. So I was really kind of learning the shit that they were like. I wish I recorded some of that stuff because it was you would hear some of the stuff that they were cutting out, and I'm like, holy shit, the show is so much better without people don't realize here what they're listening to the shittier version of the show.
So I didn't know that he got tossed off Montreal so quickly.
It was like I 3 days. It was 2 or 3 days. Like it was before a week. It was he was gone. He said something about French people, and they got all je ne sais quoi, blah 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 blah, and get rid of him.
Well, they are a very sensitive people, right?
They are.
I mean, they're really not even. They think of themselves as French. You know, they're Europeans. Whenever you go to Montreal, all you ever hear is it's a European city. It's a European city.
Yeah, but I think it's actually more. It's more that was a problem because there's more of a. It was the American influence coming in to their radio that was more the problem. I think. It's like they don't even like English speaking, let alone English speaking from America. Like they'll tolerate English speaking from Canada, but you come down there with a Southern accent, and it was like, ugh, they want nothing to do with you.
And that was at the time of the big separation. Right?
Yeah, we were a few years away from past that. I think that was the early 90s.
Right, and that's when they put in that's when they got really serious about the bilingual education, right? Like every Canadian needed to learn French, I believe.
Well, yeah, in every Canadian, yes, but it's not. See, this is where it's bullshit. It's not the same in Quebec. Quebec, they only push French, right? So it's every province has they don't push enough English in whatever. It's not the other way around, is what I'm saying. It's very one-sided. We bow to them. I don't know why.
It's interesting. In New York, there are people that are born and raised here. They cannot speak a lick of English. Yeah, exactly. And they do, and it's like if you have a business here, you have to speak Spanish, or you can't talk to these people. It's amazing because you'll be like, oh well, where did you grow up? Where are you from? And you find out it's the Bronx. And no one ever forces it. But all right, but the Stern thing does bring up something interesting. I've always found interesting about Canada is with Canadian content, right? You have the Canadian content is really pushed. Canada doesn't want to lose its identity.
Yes.
But hasn't that like really helped like guys like Tom Green um and other like Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds, like those guys growing up in Canada and having that ability to express I don't know, it just seems like you guys care more about arts and stuff than we do. I could be
No,
wrong.
I- no, I wouldn't say care more about, but I think it's like growing up here, all your, every TV show I watch, I absorb more American. I mean, shit. I mean, I have a cousin who grew up here. I grew up in Minnesota. I only moved
Right.
here when Trump got elected. Let's remember the lie. Uh, but no, growing up here, all you watch on TV is American television, right? So I absorb more American culture than Canadian culture. So it was kind of like, I guess Canadian content is kind of like, we know we're this small country next to this giant country that produces a lot of art and television and music. But we have artists here too. And if we don't give them a push, right, they'll get lost. There won't be any Canadian culture. We won't have the Tragically Hip being what the Tragically Hip ended up being, and that kind of
Right.
stuff, right? Like it's, but no, it's good. Like we do have obviously some socialist tendencies. We have a publicly funded TV station, but they put on a lot of pretty good shit, right? It's weird, but it's definitely there's a place for that. Like I used to watch the Tom Green public access show when I was like we got it on our public access channel where I lived, even though he was on another side of the
I
province.
cannot think of the guy's name, but there was another guy. Was it the Sock or something?
Ed the Sock.
Ed the Sock. Yeah.
I did a whole episode on Ed the Sock.
Whose
Actually,
stuff? Maybe
broke
where
him.
I was introduced to him.
Yeah.
But I left because it's like, yeah, you do have you do have the channel, the station or whatever that puts out, the socialist station, but they don't seem as hung up, as fundamental as the American ones. Or they don't worry as much about what they're putting on.
Oh no, yeah. Look, we used to get nudity at 9 o'clock at night on TV. Like it was great. It was it was almost pornos on Friday nights on television.
Yeah, it
It's
was like
fantastic.
Skinamax before Skinamax.
Yeah. We're not prudish about a lot of that's what's weird. We're pretty like we're hung up on some political stuff, but then the sex stuff we're like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. We made it legal here in the 90s for women to walk around topless. And I was so excited. Like I just thought topless women were going to be walking around everywhere. I've yet to see, actually, only once I've seen a topless woman walking down the street. And it was because the Leafs almost made it to the semifinals.
Wow.
Almost.
There's a cult, I think it's the Raelians, that once a year in the summer they have a titty parade. All the women walk around tops off to get and that's their way of it to express themselves. But in New York it's legal to do that. It wasn't, but it took a court case to get that way. Some very large woman sued and won.
Chris Mack actually has a good question if you want to bring it.
All right. Chris Mack.
Because I have a good answer.
Oh, Cardiff, how do you feel about Rob Ford?
He was my football coach.
Was he really?
Yes. For like a day and a half.
Did you know his brother?
I did. Well, I met him. I didn't know him. I met him.
And
I actually met him when he first got elected, which was weird. It was just random.
was he as insane as he appeared to be?
Rob or Doug?
Doug.
Nah, he's actually pretty normal.
And Rob is pretty out there too, right?
Rob's dead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Rob is the one. I apologize.
Yeah.
I had him backwards.
Yeah, he was
Doug-
out there. He was out there. Doug's more level-headed.
Right. And
He's our governor right now.
He's a conservative, correct?
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, well, it's Canada, so
Yeah.
it's like in Australia, the Liberal Party of the Conservatives, but in the United States, they'd be like left-wing Democrats. But the so that's the other, the Trump thing, right? You guys, it looked like you were all poised to elect a conservative government.
Oh yeah, and Trump fucked it up.
Trump completely fucked it up.
He completely fucked it up. He didn't like our conservative guy. He liked the liberal guy more. And people, it was in it like within 3 days, everything just shifted. The entire country was like, "Yep, this guy's done. Like this isn't happening." It just it was a landslide victory.
Right.
It was a landslide victory. It's weird. It really is weird what took place. And it was for the opposite like it didn't make any sense. But it became a wave of, I mean, the people who weren't going to vote for the conservative guy here, they were all just saying he's the next Trump. Right? Pierre Poilievre is the next Trump. We can't vote. They're not going to vote. They're done. They're voting. We're just like you. We have people who will only vote one way. We have people that only vote the other way. And every election, a few people down the middle decide who's actually going to run shit.
Right.
But so those people were never going to change. But then the people on the side that were kind of wavering toward the conservative guy, when Trump kind of favored the liberal guy, like, oh, well, I guess we'll go over there. I guess we'll go over here now. This guy's probably better for us.
I was following it and I just laughed because it was like, it really was. It was a landslide. Then Trump starts with the tariffs and wanting to make Canada the 51st state.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, actually, that was before. That started before. But the tariffs were really what changed the election.
Right, but it was Trump's post-election when he started with the Canadian.
Well, I'm saying our election, but yeah, sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's when he's. Go ahead.
Sorry. You go. It's your show.
You're the one with the Canadian history. Luigi Greenberg has a great question. He wants to know, Cardiff, do you get tired of Americans treating Canadians like strange aliens?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do. That's why I tell people I'm from Minnesota.
Mr. Blue Sky, foreigners are weird as fuck. No, it's like, based upon what we're told, we don't love to live in Canada, except we picture it as so fucking cold that nobody wants. That's the reason why we don't do it. And I come from a time when I was in the military, and for a short time I was stationed in Niagara Falls. Mm-hmm. And we used to go across the border to buy John Brador beer. I don't know if they even still sell it.
I've never even heard of that, you old man.
Yeah, well, it was beer. The beer in New York
is that like the hockey player's brother?
Maybe, but it was like the beer in New York was like 4% or whatever it was, and you could get this Canadian shit, and it was 6 or 8%. Mm-hmm. And we would go over, and you'd go across the border, you'd buy it, you'd have to come back, and you'd come back into the States, and they'd count the number that you had to make sure that
too much.
Yeah, you didn't have to pay.
And you guys could come at 19 too. I always remember Niagara Falls being a party town. It was always full of 19-year-old Americans because they could drink at 19, just crossing the border.
I was 19 when I was that age. Yeah. So
you were 19 when you were 19?
Yeah, I was 19 in New York, I think, when I was 19. And that's I love living in a country where at 17 you can join the military. You can vote at 18, but you're not allowed to have a legal drink until you're 21.
I've never understood that. 21's never made sense to me.
No, we have a real fundamentalist, there's a very sort of moralistic core in the backbone of this country, and that's where the stuff came from. And then you had that. It was Mothers Against Drunk Driving. There were drunk driving accidents, and but in places in the States, you were getting a lot of states. Kids could get driver's licenses at like 14. And
Quebec, you can drink at 18.
Right, but what was the first thing you wanted to do when you were 14? Was as soon as you got your driver's license, you wanted to get into the car with beers with your friends. and so
I
somehow
actually
this
I wanted to go to the
21.
drive-in and watch a
Hmm?
movie.
Hmm?
I wanted to go to the drive-in and watch a movie.
And did they have drive-ins?
Yeah, they did. Then,
Yeah. There was one left in Jersey, in the mid, like down by the Jersey Shore. That one's gone. And uh, the last time I went, it was very disappointing.
I
Cause go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I'm just thinking about Americans and drinking. I'm not bashing your country here, but I find it weird. Like Tukey was just in Wildwood, and I've been to Wildwood too, and it's a dry town. Like you'd have to
Right.
cross the bridge just to go to the 7-Eleven to buy beer. And then like it's weird how different states have all these different like there's you can't buy beer on Sundays in some states, and you can't like it is strange how you guys are so free, but for some reason alcohol
Yeah,
you're
alcohol is back.
very concerned about. It's like I guess it goes back to prohibition.
Well, it goes back. You don't want to know this. It goes back to the Whiskey Rebellion, but that's an entirely different story. Um, but because a lot of the South had been dry for a really long time, long before Prohibition.
Oh, really?
And yeah, when I was in Mississippi for a while, and they were bars.
Oh,
You
sorry,
had
Ocean City. Yes, not Wildwood. Ocean City. Sorry.
Ocean. Oh yeah, Ocean City
It was
is
dry.
dry, and Ocean. The hell is the name of it? Ocean Grove is also dry. And but in New Jersey, unlike other places, you can bring your booze to a restaurant.
In
So
Jersey?
yeah, yeah, they have a lot of
See,
BYOBs.
see, it's weird here. Now that I'm thinking about it here, like we only got beer in grocery stores and convenience stores like 2 years ago. So yeah, again, we're like more liberal about it, but yeah, we didn't have it in grocery stores until Doug Ford did it.
In
Weird.
in New Jersey, you can't buy beer in a grocery store or wine. You have to go to a liquor store for it. And in
And
Pennsylvania,
you can't pump your own gas. What's that
well,
about?
that's the greatest. That is the greatest thing in the world.
I don't get it though.
Oh, it's fantastic. It, there's nothing it's something you'll never appreciate until you actually have to live that way. Um, but there's nothing nicer than pulling into a gas station. It's 40 degrees and raining, and some guy comes out in a little vest and pumps your gas for you. It's fantastic. I'm so used to like fill it up, you know?
Yeah, it feels weird if I like every once in a while I pull into a full serve because it's the only one that there's like two full serves and no one's there and there's lineups for the other pumps. So like fuck it, I'll pay the extra
Right.
price per liter. Dogs. I just say fuck it, I'll do it. But it just feels weird. Like even when he's pumping, I want to get out of the car and stand there. Like it just feels like I should be.
I I moved here from I moved to Jersey, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago from New York. And in New York, you pump your own gas. And every time these guys would pump my gas, I felt like I had to give them a tip. You
Yeah,
know,
you should.
that's how weird it felt. It was like I I need to give them a tip. I need to give them a tip. And then you realize you're about the only one that's doing it. And I would get like even if I wanted to use a credit card, I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure I have some cash to give the guy a tip. But nobody does. It,
You should.
it's
Tip
not.
your guy.
Yes, I agree. It's not a thing. But we have. So, but New Jersey has like a really strict for a big northeastern liberal state. It has some of the weirdest liquor laws. Like to get a liquor license in New Jersey
Mm.
can be almost impossible. And so the if you have a liquor license, if you can sell a restaurant with a liquor license, let's say you could get 250 or $500,000 depending upon where it is. And if you're in if you and if it doesn't have a liquor license, it's not really worth a lot, you know? It's worth a
Like
fraction of that.
it's like a taxi plate used to be.
Exactly. It's like a taxi medallion. And because like in New York, you can just apply, anybody can apply for a liquor license. You just have to meet certain requirements, but there's no real limit on them. But in Jersey, they limit the number of liquor licenses per town by the population. So you wind up with a bunch of really shitty restaurants that people go to because they do serve alcohol.
Mm.
Um,
But they
But
do bring your own, you said?
but you
Most
bring your
places?
own. That was a big thing when I started dating my wife. She's in Jersey, and I come over here, and it was like we could go to, like, she would bring a bottle of wine, and you'd sit there and you'd have wine, and I'm like going, wow, my bill is significantly less since
Mhm.
I'm not buying alcohol.
They charge corkage?
No,
That's
no.
bullshit when they do that
That's
too.
what I was blown away. That's another Mississippi thing, is the corkage. So
There was
in
a place.
Mississippi,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so in Mississippi, when I was there, and this is the 80s, they were not allowed to sell liquor
Mhm.
at a club or a bar. They would sell beer, and you had to buy you had to buy at least six at a time. And they would put them in ice buckets and bring them over to you. But you could bring your own setup. You could bring your own bottle, and then they would charge you for the mixers. And so, like, if you were drinking Jack and Coke, they would sell you the Coke, and you would bring your own Jack
$9
Daniels.
Coke, but here you go.
Right. But the the amazing part was, when you have your own liquor, as opposed to having to buy it, you get way more hammered than you ever would if they were
Yeah.
selling it to you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and some of this, yeah, but yes, but anyway, we do. BYOB is most restaurant. I don't know if it's most, but I'm going to say most don't have liquor licenses, and you bring your own.
There was even I remember one time in Philly, and we were in Little Italy, and I wanted nothing more than a fucking nice bowl of pasta and a glass of red wine. Like, it was one of those days. We did the Rocky Steps. We did Philly, and I felt like I want some good Italian food in Philly and some red wine and enjoy my night. And we end up in this amazing Italian restaurant, and I'm like, "Where's the wine list?" It's like, and it was something like, there's these 3 blocks are dry, like it was a dry zone in Philly. Stone Man, explain this. I've never talked about this. But I was like, they're like, you could bring your own. I'm like, well, is there a liquor store around? They're like, no. I'm like, well, I'm kind of fucked here.
Yeah, and a what do you call it? It definitely sounds counterintuitive to have a dry area in a place like Pennsylvania or Philly, at least. You know. Um, Peter Sky Parker, when you're turning left at a green light and you're waiting for a break in the opposing traffic, do you stop at the lane or pull into the intersection?
Is that a question for me?
I think it's a question probably for both of us, and I think Peter Sky Parker is trying to troll us because we're having conversations about liquor laws in various parts of the planet.
That's good. That's true. That is true.
Right.
But I mean, it depends on what the guy across from you is doing. If he enters the intersection, then you also have to enter the intersection, or else you will not be able to have a clear vision of the oncoming.
I can tell you what the answer is.
Please.
You enter when you're turning left at a green light, you enter the intersection and you leave your wheels straight. You don't turn your wheels.
Just in case you get bumped.
Right. And if you get bumped, you won't cause an accident. And then you make the turn when it's safe. But that's the answer.
Good.
And I, like Adam Carolla, used to teach defensive driving when I first got started.
Congratulations. And Bobo.
Bobo taught defensive driving.
The Howard Stern's Bobo.
Oh, okay.
He was a driving instructor.
So there were 3 Bobos. Did you ever listen to Ron and Fez?
I did not. I knew of them, like I knew of Ron and Fez, and I regret it. I know I missed something. Even Tuki's always telling me how much I missed. I know. But I just knew of them when there was crossover on Opie and Anthony, when they would play clips from Ron and Fez, when Ron would come in or Fez might come in. Like that's all I knew about them. And I know I missed something, but I never got it when they were on. I just didn't listen. I think that's when, I think once the Stern was on satellite, I think I was listening to Howard Stern more after, like the replay, and listening to Opie and Anthony live. So I probably, as soon as Opie and Anthony were done, I'd jump over to listen to Stern. I
was very into Ron and Fez, and that's second only to Opie and Anthony. I would listen to that, and they came to NEW, and they were kind of the first ones to adopt any kind of internet identity, and their first show was called ronandfez.com, and
Yeah, I
they
remember
would
hearing that. Yeah.
they had pal talk, and it was very interactive, and it was new and it was different. It's almost
Mhm.
like what we do here on YouTube at the time. And then Fez lost his mind and the show went to shit, but that's an entirely different story.
But yeah, I know I missed something with that. Like I get it. I'm not trying to be like, oh, that wasn't for me. It was. I know I missed something, and I can't even think about trying to just learn a new show at my age.
Yeah, and Bennington was an amazing guy. He was just so hilarious. All right, I got a $5 super tip from Young Old Vibes. Way cooler than the pineapple. Heart. Uh, thank you. That's the one super tip we've gotten tonight. I've had nothing but
Congratulations.
trouble with super tips since I got it. And it's not super tips. It's what my wife would call user error.
Mm-hmm.
And
But now it's working with Evie Mux. Am I right?
it is working with Easy Mux, and I think somebody should send in a voice tip and let's see if that works, because that was the bigger problem. And then I was getting looping, so I would play. Somebody sent in like a Kevin Brennan one, and it would just keep replaying it over and over again.
Oh, well, that's not Evie Mux. That's you.
No,
it's super tip.
Yes, and
yeah, you did that.
I'm like hitting buttons and all that. It's very hard for me to control two screens at the same time. You know? Yes, but I'm learning. I have, and I have Dave Sarah, who co-hosts with me usually and helps me out a lot. And he's very flighty and spacey. So I leave shit to him and then he doesn't show up. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do this myself.
Schmuel.
And I don't know how to do it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What is your super tip link? Nobody knows.
It is supertip.gg/Buckman.
There you go.
And
that's how you do it.
It's supposed to be in my background, but it's supposed to be on my screen, but like everything I do, I fuck it up.
Just remember the layers. Make sure they're on top.
I'm learning the layers, and which brings me to something else. So you got Karmic, right? And
yes.
all this Karmic guy is doing is yelling about how everybody's trying to fuck him, and nobody helps him, and he's all alone. I gotta say, that has not been my experience in the Dabbleverse. If it's not you sending me the thing so I can use a filter, or other people helping me out. Hackride the other day was spending time with me working on EvMux, and I'm blown away. I get blown away by how helpful the people are here, and it's also like I also get blown away at like when I go to events and how much fun the dabblers are.
It is. The live events are a blast. The live events are a blast, and I was the first time I did a live event. I actually kind of did a run-in, and I quickly ran out. I went back to my car. I changed. Like the whole point, the whole reason I had the cane the first couple times I did live shows in Rochester was so I could be hunched over when I was in character. So that when I wasn't in character, because my whole plan was I could just do it, run in, come back, and then hang out as me. I never really met anyone as me in this world, right? And just whatever. But that first one, I took off and I came back and I actually met a whole bunch of the people from the shows and talked to me. It was a lot of fun. Those events are all fun.
And I know in Detroit you did it where you were wearing the Jason mask or whoever it was.
Yes.
And
it's Jason.
But then you took it off and you're standing there and Paulina was signing your subreddit surfing posters and people were asking where you were. And Paulina was like looking up going, I don't know. He must have and you're standing right there.
We actually had one guy who came and I think that was the same moment where the guy was getting Vinny to sign his poster. And he's like, where's Cardiff? I want Cardiff to sign my poster. And we actually took the poster, went around the corner. I signed it. I was like, oh, we just caught him here. He signed it. But the guy was so smashed. It didn't matter. Stone Man, Detroit, I have a Jason mask. as well. Michael
Yeah,
Myers was the creep off roast and the old school, but in Detroit I have a Jason potato mask that I've used that nobody recognizes. Like after the first Detroit show, you know how many people said, "Is that Cardiff?" Like it wasn't obvious that I was Cardiff. So I think the last time I had like my name like in lights on my back, like, "Hey, I'm Cardiff."
yeah, it was a little,
But
and that wasn't the first time I met you, but in Detroit, I went to Detroit not the last year, but I guess the year before,
mm,
and in the Jason stuff, and I'm like, I couldn't figure out why you were dressed as Jason, and I had made the wife come with me, and had been talking you up. She was actually with us in Pottstown, and I was like, the potato guy, the potato guy, the potato guy, and then you were doing the Jason thing, and she was asking me like, why does he wear that? And I'm like, I have no idea.
I don't know either. There wasn't. I like Jason. Somebody made me a Jason mask painted as a potato, and I wore it.
That was the worst thing about the subreddit surfing show, was that you had that fantastic helmet that Lockie made,
Yeah.
and you couldn't get the voice to work in it.
No,
That
Vinny
was
carried the show. It was fine.
Yeah, but it was I gotta admit, it was rough being in the audience because you couldn't really hear the TVs, and
Mm,
you're very much a tail gunner in those things, with the stuff you shoot out, and it was like you
yeah.
couldn't really hear you do it. So
Yeah. It
uh,
it was just that was the I got that mask the minutes before the show, so it's like we didn't have a lot of time to figure it out. But it was so awesome. I could not go out in it. So
uh, the day Cardiff is unmasked, the music dies.
that's fact, Jack
There are some of us that have seen
Adam.
Mr. Potato without his mask, and shockingly, he's not nearly as hideous as I hoped.
As he should be.
Ah, I was hoping you were like, I don't know, like a burn victim or something. Like there was a
There's
real
still
reason,
time. There's still time, Schmuel.
real reason for you to be wearing the mask. And I'm like, he's a he's kind of a good looking guy. This is
It's
not it's not fair.
it's again. I this is the it makes Chad insane. It makes Stuttering John insane, but they can't understand that again. It's like Yucko the clown. It's like it's just uh it's the gimmick is fun. It's stupid. That's why I did it. It was random. It happened by accident, but people grabbed onto it. So I keep doing it. Right? Like it's not like I'm not hiding because I'm ugly and I'm sure I'm fat. Who cares? Sure I'm balding. Who cares? Nobody cares. Anybody who does care is the only people that do care are Chad and John. But it's like, yeah, who cares? I'm not hiding anything. I'm not disguising. I'm not. Chad was, I think, our first run in. He was telling everyone that I was on disability and hiding my face because of making all this money on YouTube.
Yes.
Like, no, there's nothing to fear. It's funny. It's funnier. Sure. I'm a funny guy. I think that's a fact, Jack. Maybe they're right. Maybe no one would have kind of paid attention to me if I wasn't a potato in the beginning. But people stick around because of what I
Right.
say, not because the potato thing wears off after about 2 minutes. But it's just stupid.
But sometimes like a gimmick just takes on a life of its own, and you're just like you just keep going with it. And
Believe
it
me, I
does
want to give it up. It's dumb. I get it. I'd love to do something else, but people seem to like it. It still grows.
Toto Pain Diaz, potato with the charm. Uh, yeah, but that is the thing, right? You
Mm.
are funny. If it was just a potato filter and outfits, it wouldn't have lasted as long as it did. It wouldn't be as funny as it is. Um, and it's funny knowing you as the potato as opposed to the guy behind the potato. And I've been one of those people. I've never cared to find out who you really were. It's like it doesn't make any difference to me. And it was very funny in Vegas because there were people who were like, I think that's Cardiff. I think that's Cardiff. And there were a couple of people that got pointed out as Cardiff
Mhm.
in pictures that I was asked about. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that looks like him. Looks just like him.
I mean, the pictures that Chad is putting out as me. I mean, if it isn't me, it's not far off. I mean, it's just, sure, it's fun. Okay. Even if that was me, great. You got me. Who cares?
I, I, I know. So do you think that beer sales, Vegas beer sales, Jerry was trying to take pictures of you?
Yeah. Yeah, he absolutely was.
I was very disappointed to hear that because he was such a nice guy when I was talking to him.
Yeah. No, we were actually messaging. I was trying to like, there were times where I was like sitting there watching a show and he's messaging me, hey, you should come down. And I'm like, oh, I'm just in my hotel. I'm just in my room right now. Like every time I was around him, I was messaging him that I'm not around him. Every time I wasn't around him, I was messaging him that hey, I'm right. Come over. I'm sitting over here. Come by over here. Like I was just trying to throw him off at every possible juncture. But there was actually one time with him where I was face to face in the bathroom, like well lit, like he had the perfect lighting. He could have got the greatest shot of me, and there were mirrors everywhere. Like it would have had every angle, and he had no idea it was me, and it was fantastic.
So at one point, you guys were in a booth, right? Oh,
Allegedly.
In the main room. So you guys are over in a booth, allegedly, and I'm standing by the bar talking to Vegas beer sales, and somebody says, "Oh, Cardiff is over there," and I said, "Oh no, he's not. I just saw him go out the door," and
Threw him off the
Vegas
scent.
Vegas went out and looked for you.
Oh, see, yeah, he wanted something.
I thought he just wanted to talk to you. I never thought that he would. I don't know. You know, it's hard to know with these people in the in the Dabbleverse. It's hard to know who's trolling you, who's doxing you.
Mhm.
So you just got to assume that everybody is trolling you and or doxing you. Um, but some of the highlights of my time watching you are definitely being a player for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That that's one of my all-time favorites.
What did I pitch? 3 innings?
Something like that. It only would have been funnier if it had been around like the Joey C time when he could talk about how he met you in a locker room and really push it. But
Wasn't he the one that spoiled it though? Like, wasn't he the one that said that I
I don't
wasn't?
know.
I think he was actually the one that ruined it.
Oh, was he really?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think he was
know.
one. I think he was one of the ones that spoiled it. Like yeah. I want to maybe not. Maybe I'm casting aspersions on an upstanding Joey C.
At this point, Rocco might as well just stay unmasked. Everybody knows what he looks like now.
You're right, but it's still funnier in the wrestling mask. It's still like it's still Pee Wee's Playhouse. It's still Saturday morning cartoons. It's still, like I said, everybody at Hackamania saw me without my mask on, except for Vegas Beer Sales Jerry. Like I made a point of it. I talked to everybody, and anybody who asked, I'm like, yeah, hey, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm Cardiff. Nice, whatever. Everyone except Vegas Beer Sales Jerry. But I still put the stupid filter on because it's goofy this way. It's nonsense. It makes no sense. It makes people think, what's happening? Right? Like people watching it for the first time is like, what the fuck is this? And then people that have been watching it for 4 years now are like, we get it. Like it's
the potato. He's like the odd member of our family, you know?
That's a fact, Jack.
You're like the crippled guy that everybody thinks there's something wrong with, but we go, oh no, he's funny. He's with us. What do you call it? So when I met you in Vegas, I was laughing because one of the things that shocked me in the Dabbleverse is people coming up to me and introducing themselves.
You're a star.
And they'll be like, oh, you're Buckman. And it's not a lot of people. It's some people. Walked up.
I saw you from a mile away. You were casting a reflection on the pool deck.
Yes, I was. And you walked over to me and you said my name, and then you like kind of stared at me. And I finally had to reach the point where I went, I'm really sorry. I have no idea who you are.
I thought I met you though without the mask in Pottstown.
No.
Yeah, that's I that's why I assumed that I did. I think I assumed that I did meet you without the mask before.
Yeah, I didn't want to ruin it. I didn't want to meet you without the mask on. I liked the mystery. Rocco and I had a quick conversation about that he was like, it's to him it was very cool that there were so many people, or there are so many people that don't care what his phone number is, don't care where he lives,
Mhm.
and enjoy the character and that stuff. And it is pretty fucking weird with the number of people that do want to dox you. Um,
Well, two.
but well, too, but there's they have suppliers.
And again,
Um,
that's the whole reason I made it. It's again, it all built into the wanting it to be anonymous because of the way John was going after people, even way back when, right? Like it just kind of, I just knew it would be something that would just add some mystery and would make people crazy.
But you have to know you were in, like, you had something when John tried to dox you, put up a picture of what he thought was you, and then the rest of the Dabbleverse did the, I am Spartacus thing, where they just put up, a couple of hundred pictures of varying people saying, no, this is Cardiff. This is Cardiff.
He has put up a picture of me.
Mm-hmm.
He has, and he doesn't even know he has it.
Right.
It got lost in the thing, and my picture has been out there. I'm surprised no one's ever grabbed it, and it was done. It was one of the ones he put up at one point was me, but he just got lost in the shuffle. Like you said, everyone came to my aid and threw everything else out there.
Dirty Deeds is the last Stuttering John fan. Stuttering John was an innocent man.
He was. It still is.
Yeah, Deeds likes him. All right, let's see what Adam Jones has to say. Okay, hear me out. With that black hat on, doesn't Schmuel remind you of the creepy old guy from Poltergeist? Now I can't unsee it. I am either the creepy old guy from Poltergeist, or I am the character from Saw. And
Yeah. Definitely saw.
Brandon Deft has made some pretty cool videos of me as a serial killer, which which I've really enjoyed. Some clips, and those are great. The so and you and Tukey did not, you and Rocco, you didn't know each other before this, right?
No.
Like you.
No, we met through all this. Like I did. Yeah, I was doing my own thing. Like I didn't work with anybody. I didn't do everything I did was very secretive. So like I did my shows by myself. I didn't have people kind of around. But I started seeing this bedabbler guy. Like there wasn't Tuke yet. It was just this bedabbler guy, and he was doing these stuttering John. No, he actually. Fuck. Anyway, I think I just kind of saw one of his videos, and then I saw one of his videos, and he was talking about trying to raise money to come to DabbleCon. So I did like a telethon on my stream. Like, let's get this guy to DabbleCon. Let's help him raise. Hey, he had a GoFundMe or a buy me a coffee or something, right? So I actually did a whole telethon trying to put, and I didn't know him. I had never spoken to him. I don't even think we DM'd, nothing. I just thought, well, here's another guy making stuff. He was doing like more produced videos. I think at that time too, and it was just fun stuff. I liked what he was doing. I kind of got his humor, and he's doing a character, and I'm like, this is fun. People doing characters is fun. There's enough people like Schmuel just sitting there talking in front of a microphone. Let's have fun with it.
Exactly. I bring
and
the lack of talent.
Exactly.
I have to offset you guys. You need balance.
Yes. And then we ended up connecting and on from there. And I like, but then it was him and OJ and Kevin Dumbfuck doing a show, right? Or it actually was him and Kevin Dumbfuck, and then OJ was like their producer. But yeah, it was just we and then I guess I kind of inserted myself into that relationship. Like there was a time where I used to go on like Bedabbling Live or Tukey Soup or something, and I'd be like, "Hey man, if you don't want me to come on, just let me know. Like if I'm ruining the show, just let me know. I won't show up." And he's like, "No, we want you. Like it's fun." So we were having fun. What was your question?
I don't know. I want to get back there, but I want to ask. This is a question that I want to ask. Big Black wasn't Cardiff first, and JT answered no, but Wasn't there a time when you started getting popular and then there were like a million diffs?
I wouldn't, not a million, but there were quite a
Well,
few
I'm
diffs. Yeah.
I'm prone to exaggeration.
Yeah. There was the corn diff and then other diffs.
There was a cranberry diff and
Yeah. It became a thing. Like it became a thing. It was fun. It was like when I started spawning characters, it was fun. It was like, okay, there's more people out there that get why this is fun than just me.
but
I'm
that's
not,
why it's also you're so much fun because you didn't get pissed off that like, oh, you're stealing my bet. Propane diff,
no, yeah, who
you know?
cares? That's stupid. Like it's again, I stole the potato from somebody else.
Right.
Like there was
That,
just somebody else was doing the potato, and I took it from him, and he had 3 people watching, and I took it and I made it funny.
you know, go,
How
going
can I
back,
get angry?
yeah, because like going back full circle to like Chad, it's hilarious to me because he's constantly complaining about um,
Hold
people
on.
steal.
Hold on. No,
Yeah.
it would be like somebody saying you wore the same shirt I did. And I should like if I wore the same shirt that Andrew Dice Clay wore on stage, if I wore the same outfit, I should just be as funny. Like it's who cares if you have my clothes? Sorry,
I
go on.
I tend to, yeah, I would disagree because in a way because it would be like um if I changed my name to you know Karmic Q or something or Schmuel X.
That might be
um
actually be funny. That's actually a good one. You should do that.
the Schmuel X.
Schmuel X.
I I thought about doing it. I just can't decide whether I want to stay in this karmic universe or not.
Mhm.
I do apparently provide him quite a bit of content because he talks about me on every show,
Good.
and uh, I didn't
Glad
even
there's
know there
other
was shit porn or as it's called shizer porn uh,
Shiza.
until he got the put together an entire story of Pat and Quad and Crumbum and I, um, and a shit porn story. So
Nice.
it was, but I I did think I would get. I was going to get like the free Sonos app and make an AI with Shmuel X, but AI music. But I can barely figure out Adobe Express. So, and as you can see, I've done a great job with my super tip logo,
Yes, it's fantastic.
supertip.gg/Buckman, um, and also supertip.gg/cum for the potato. And did you know that Dave Sarah bought the supertips.gg
I did, and then
website?
redirected it to MLC.
It goes to his now, yeah, but he redirected it to MLC. But he'd been telling me to buy it forever. And I when I went to look it up, I must have put in like supertips.com because it's a gambling website in Australia.
Oh,
And I was like, "What?" But he bought that. It's actually very funny, but he hasn't done anything with it, and he has no plans to do anything with it.
well,
But
I recommend everyone goes to mariobosco.com
uh,
because that'll take you to my Rumble page.
will it really?
Thank you again, Flimsy Greenberg.
it's it's very funny when people have other people's like somebody doesn't get their URL and somebody buys it
Mhm.
and then it directs you to to someone else. Um, particularly uh, like Stuttering John stuff, where you wind up being sent to one of his haters.
Mhm.
Uh, so I have I promised you an hour. It's an hour and a half. So and I don't want to keep you, but I do want to ask you,
Yes.
what did you think of? And I've been begged to ask this question. Um, what was your opinion? Lockie can do whatever Lockie wants to do,
Mhm.
but did you guys ever feel like you really missed out on that Stuttering John puppet
I
that
would have
Lockie made?
loved to. I would have loved to have that puppet. I've said it. That when I saw that puppet, and I saw like Lockie was sending me like little update videos every couple months, so I saw what he was working on, and I saw the progress in it. It's like when I saw the pump sprayer going in so that it could spray water. I'm like, and I didn't know what it was for. So like a part of me was like, is that for me? Am I gonna get this? Is he gonna show up at DabbleCon 3 with like, is that for me? And then I realized it wasn't.
So you and Shuli
Mhm.
are engaged in Mortal Kombat, or is that just kind of a work? Or
Oh yeah, no, that was completely a
That was
work.
okay.
I was just
'Cause
trying to get on Kevin Brennan's good side.
I was wondering if I could like mediate where there was a
Oh no,
handover
no,
of
there was.
the Stuttering John puppet, and because it really I I like Shuli,
Mhm.
and I know a lot of people don't, but I really feel like it's being wasted. And when doing it with the Clay Duty or something,
Mhm.
um, it was awful. You know.
But I don't know what you do with that. To be honest, I'm not. And again, yes, the whole thing with me and Shul, we never hated each other. I was never mad at him. There was never anything. I just came up with his idea to get. I thought maybe Kevin Brennan would have me on more, and he had me on once, and then that was it. But I kept hoping. I kept hoping. Um, but I don't know what. Honestly, if I got it, I don't know what I probably wouldn't know what to do with it either.
Right.
Right? Like I think in that animation they did with it, it was that was fantastic.
Right.
Like that was fantastic using it like that, right? But yeah, I don't know how.
I feel like
Like
Rocco could do something with it though, for sure.
no, even raw. I don't think so. I don't think that's a hard one to do to do John for an entire chunk. It's hard. Like that would be hard to do, and to keep that fun. Like I think, like I almost think that they have to use that puppet in small doses, I guess. But I don't know what you would do. It's hard. Yeah, I can't even imagine what I would do with that fucking thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm almost relieved I didn't get it. The pressure.
Right, because if you did get it,
Pressure.
you'd be like, I have to do something with this. I have to do something.
Yeah, and it's got to be worthwhile of that creation. But I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, I was actually on Kevin Brennan for the first time a week or two ago, and got thrown off very quickly.
Oh, congratulations.
And but the DMs that I got were like, "You did good. Even Cardiff got thrown off his first time."
Well, I made it. I lasted like 25 minutes, but whatever.
Yeah, I didn't even last that long, because I don't care about Kevin's money, and I think that was the thing that made him the craziest.
Oh yeah. By
And
the way,
he
how much are you paying me?
and he doesn't understand. Check your Venmo after this
Okay, good.
is over. The request will be there.
Good.
I once said to Pat Dixon, because I'm such a dolt. When he was on Rumble, I once said to Pat Dixon, like, well, send me some clips of your show and I'll put them out. And Pat was like, yeah, you and your 4 viewers will see them. So occasionally I make a mistake, so
Mhm.
I don't do that. I don't do that no more. All
Good.
right, Sam Bibley is a question for the potato. Cardiff, can you remember a single instance of Shuli ever being funny? I didn't read this. I should have. Didn't want to
Mhm.
put you in this position. But I'm going to ask it. Can you ever remember a single instance of Shuli ever being funny a little bit, and why not?
I'm sure. I look. Okay. I can't tell you a bit. Like there isn't a signature Shuley bit that I can point to, but I can tell you when I first got, on a show with Shuley, it was like, cool. I'm on a show with Shuley. It's the guy from the Stern Show. Like I'm sure he's made me laugh over the years. I just can't tell you a specific moment when. So call it a
I have,
cop out.
yeah, I always think there is different skill sets, right? Like you're you, and what Shuli was able to do was to sort of take the whack packy kind of crap, like
Yeah, and
wrap it
get
up and make
edit it. He was a good editor.
right.
He was a good not a coordinator,
Yeah.
but like I can't even think of the word I'm
Well, he made
looking for.
John. He
Curator, a curator.
Yeah, he made
Curator.
John's. That's how really I got into this. I watched WATP one time, and then somehow I didn't really remember John, and I knew who he was, but didn't really remember him. And then
And that's weird because I really take you as a Stern guy.
The Uncle Rico stuff was great. I turned off Stern a lot earlier. I saw where this was going with him a lot earlier than other people, and not because I'm smart or anything, but after a while, him being sort of the king of everything got a little. It just got a little tiring, and then I also felt like, again, with the commercials, it was just. I don't know. I didn't really get into it. And then, but I go back to the time when when Jackie was there and he was getting rid of Jackie. And the show, I don't think was that great from when Jackie left until Artie came on. And I don't really remember Artie that long. I don't know how long that was.
Yeah, I was more Artie years than anything.
Right.
Like I was there for all of that.
Yeah, because I didn't listen to any of it, and now when I listen to it, now, I'm like, I really did miss something.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's your Ron and Fez.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the Artie years were your Ron and Fez. No, those were great. Those were great.
And Artie is quite fantastic. And my only real contact with Artie was being on Washington Street in Hoboken, and Artie being across the street, going in the opposite direction. We were both in cars, and he was in a big Land Rover, and there was a guy who seemed like he just seemed like he was falling asleep, waiting for the light to turn green, and the light turns green. He goes, and I was like, "Oh, that was Artie Lang," and then that's my big Artie Lang story.
I just wish Artie Lang was in the Dabbleverse. I wish he was here for that. I wish he was doing a show right now somewhere and commenting on, again, not now, but when, the Dabbleverse with John was at its peak. Would have loved to have had Artie be part of it. Oh, it would have been fantastic.
There's nothing as much fun as, to me, as having watched John think that he was a real big shot, right? Like, I'm Mr. Big, like Tonight Show thing, and then going into Kumia and Artie just shitting all over him. And John just like, he doesn't know what to do.
Like it's like a phone screener all over again.
If you're not stroking him, he just gets angry. And he does the thing where he says, "Oh, we're just ball busting." He never was a ball buster. When you listen back to those old Stern shows, there was like good-natured ribbing between people. But John was, you could just tell John's thing was always, "I'm better than you." And I'm going to, he would try to hurt you with his comments, I thought.
Yeah, the drink bleach approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, man. I don't want to keep you any longer.
Yeah.
Because one of these days I want to get you back, but I'm used to you doing Ray when you go. All right, Ray, got to pop out.
No, I would give you more respect than Ray. That's a fact, Jack.
Yeah, well, I did laugh because I saw your post earlier tonight that this was the show you were going to be on at 8:00. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of an anonymous link. He must be embarrassed to be on with me.
Oh, is that what I did?
You just sent it out. You just said, this is the show I'm going to be on at 8:00. Oh. You didn't put a name.
And I thought that would help you.
And it certainly did. But
I mean, if I put your name, less people would click, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. But I
think so.
All right. I was just laughing because I was like, this is definitely like, I could see you doing it, and not just me, but other shows. And then some of them become shows you never mention again.
Yes.
Like I'm gonna forget about that. And then if you like it or you enjoyed it, then you're free to talk about it later on.
Oh, I will. Oh, we'll be talking. I think Tuki's sniping us right now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Tuki, I was impressed, for lack of a better way to describe it, with my appearance on Dixon with Karmic. Mm-hmm. And somebody was on and they asked like who I was. And Tuki's response was, just ignore the ghoul in the middle. He doesn't add anything. And that made me happy. But nothing's made me happier than getting the hand pay in Vegas. Uh,
That is what made you famous.
and uh, and being this sort of really nice guy, except when I'm gambling, and being a miserable prick.
Mhm.
And I realized by the end of that night, there were, I think, 6 places at that bubble craps table, and I was there by myself.
Oh no.
And had because I kept chasing people away because people kept wanting to come up and talk to me,
That's true.
and I was like, oh, I don't want to. And Mrs. Tukey came up to me at one point and said, "What did you do to Annie? She's in the other room crying."
You hurt Annie,
And
Schmuel?
well, Annie and I have since made up and become great friends.
If I
But
knew this before, I wouldn't have come on the show.
I know. No, we're best of. She was, what do you call it? She said she was a little intoxicated,
Annie
and
can get intoxicated, yes.
and I was playing. I think it was like 250 or 260 roll at craps, and she was reaching across the machine, going like, hitting buttons like, "What's that button? What's that button?"
Oh.
And I'm like, the button that just sent me from 260 to 520.
So you called Annie a cunt is what happened.
I didn't call Annie a cunt.
Should have. How dare you do that, Annie?
I felt terrible. I had to apologize to Kahuna. I mean, there was a whole list of people I had to apologize to.
You should.
And I was being a dick the whole time because I wouldn't press the button. That was my other. That was why I was playing alone.
I have no idea what that game
Did you?
is.
You didn't see any? You weren't there for any of that.
I played. Teo Hank sat me down and put $100 bill in and said, "Okay, Cardiff, I'm going to teach you how to play craps and just hit buttons." And I have no idea. I've never played. I don't know.
So you know the red button, the one you hit to roll the dice? Well, if you wait, it rolls itself.
Yes.
Right? But the whole time it's waiting, it keeps going like, hit the button in a really annoying voice. And I wouldn't hit the button. I was letting it roll by itself. So I was annoying everyone.
That was your luck. You chose the random roll for luck.
Exactly. Okay, but I did have Teo Hank come up and tell me, this is what you need to do. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I got I even got Teo Hank pissed off at me. And so that's like the hardest thing in the world to do. So
Teo Hank's a saint.
Not all bubble craps, just that one. I've never seen anybody lose as quick. Teo's bubble craps, he was very quick at losing money. He took Lady KB over at one point, and she was like, "This is too much. I just can't do this." Annie making out with Buckman coming right up. Annie's a doll. I love Annie.
Annie's the best.
And Annie really helped me with a bunch
of makeup,
with OBS and those things.
Yeah. So, yeah, she probably sent you the video. She made a tutorial.
I got the tutorial video, but then she sat with me for about an hour and a half, and we wound up with like a hybrid. The best she could do was come up with sort of a hybrid system to get me working, and it still didn't work. Like, it worked when she left, and then an hour later when I went to try to use it, it shit the bed. So I've just given up.
You need a live-in Annie.
I need a live-in Annie, or I need a producer, somebody who can handle it, because I'm so amazing with the words. I'm such a wordsmith that people just love to listen to me, and somebody else needs to handle the technical issues. But and with that said, hey man, really thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
It was great. And
this was fun.
I really appreciate it.
It's very low pressure to be on a show where no one's watching. It's fun.
Well, we actually do have I will not count the Twitter followers. But I get the little button up here that makes me feel good because it says 98 viewers.
Congratulations.
And then you click on the little button, 52 of them are on YouTube. And I have actually had like arguments with people that the YouTube numbers don't count. But I do love, that's a very Aaron Imholty thing to do.
It is.
Like, oh, we've got, this number on YouTube and then 17,400 on Twitter. Eh, So,
Totally
and
real.
well, and speaking of Aaron, I made my goal for tonight, which
Good.
was to have the great Cardiff Electric on and share some stories about his origin and where he came from. And thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Schmuel. See
Thank you.
you next time.
I will see you. Thank you, boys.
Galaga.
Bye. All right, guys. That was the great Cardiff Electric. And I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. He's kind of he's an amazing guy in my one of the real talents in this universe. And since I'm not one of those talents, uh, it is always fantastic. Ah, there we go. Remove him from the scene. All right, so this is me. The hat is technically navy blue, but you can't see it because I've got it completely fucked up. Uh, I'm completely screwed up here. In any event, folks, I am gonna say good night. Thank you all for being here. I got Carlos Danger in. That was great. Soren Lindholm, Schmuel should read audiobooks. Uh, yeah, they would just, I would be like the Ambien of narrators. Um, your camera makes it look like 2005. Yeah, it's a Logitech StreamCam. It's actually quite an expensive one. Oscar Electric, who was breaking my balls at the beginning of the night. Target. Uh, Thank you, Oscar, and great interview. Uh, this is Keena K. I just want to say I laugh, Keena. Somebody sent me a clip of Karmic the other day, and uh, you get him a lot of memberships and stuff. So I I thank you for that because we need a karmic in this universe. Um, we definitely need a karmic. Stone Man. Next time I'm in Vegas, I'm playing craps with Schmuel. Bubble craps. But you really don't want to play with me because I'm a miserable bastard when I'm playing. Because it's like I get very focused on what I'm doing, and I literally chased people away. I mean, and there were people that I really wanted to talk to, including Patrick Melton, who I was like, yeah. Can we get to this later? Um, but I did. I started with 200. I walked away winning. I walked away, I think, with 3750 because I won 3550, and it was pretty awesome. And Dr. Steve was really competing to get the hand payout, and I was the one that got it, and the great Rocco recorded it, so I have that. And then the worst part of winning 3550 is the missus had already left earlier that day. She heard about the 3550, and she wanted half the money for me making her go there. Stoneman 623. I heard you telling people to get the hell away from me. Um, it's 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 absolutely. I hate to say that it is true. I didn't realize how much of an asshole I was being, but it's craps. It's just like a lot of bets, and it's hard to keep track of what you're doing. And I was watching other people who weren't paying attention, and everybody was just giving their money away. But in the end, I had like 50 something rolls without throwing craps, so it was really unusual, and I got to do it. Um, Johnny A. All set at the end of the table, bet with the house. So, Johnny, I was playing Bubble Craps, which is essentially the same game. The odds are the same, everything is the same as a regular craps table, except you can keep track of your payouts because you're not relying on the dealer, and you've got nobody hurrying you or rushing you. And the people aren't right next to you getting pissed off at you at the way you're betting. And it was really great because you got to avoid a lot of the people telling you like, you got to put this on the horn, you got to do that, you got to do this. My goal was to win and keep the house odds down. So that was what I did. And obviously, the next time I play, I will lose 35-50. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much, Cardiff. It's amazing. That's another one that I've gotten to check off my list of people that I was really excited to stream with. Um, uh, just it blows me away how talented the people are in the Dabbleverse, and he he's he's amazing, and that's one of the reasons why when I got when Kumia was talking about, oh, anybody with a camera could, just come on, and they're digital panhandlers and that stuff. I was like, well, thank God for that, because that's how we get to see guys like Tukey and Rocco and Carl and just a whole myriad of people who've really brought later in life able to do something with this and make it fun and give us great joy. And I'm honored to be a part of it, and I'm actually blown away. And if I don't say it to the people around me, I say it to myself all the time that, I'm shocked that I can go onto YouTube and put on a show, and people watch, people ask me to come on, people ask me on their shows, and it it's it's just fantastic. So thank you guys. Oh, and speaking of which, it just on a talent thing, Oscar Electric. I'm still working my way around the Dabbleverse. You got to Oscar's work is also amazing. Follow him on Twitter. Brandon Deft is another one. Brandon's come out of nowhere to be probably one of the best clippers around. He does focus on karmic a lot, and he makes some great goddamn content. And of course, Doom and Stallion and So Thorough Joe Burrow. And like I said um, earlier on, um, most people like in this universe, they have a skill set, and those skill sets have really worked so well together in this one universe. And so I again, I can't tell you how happy I am that I found this place and how much I enjoy it. And I will say once again that I like Shuli, um, just to annoy you guys, and um, I want Karmic to succeed, and I hope Kevin Brennan hits calms down, and Johnny A, Dan and Deb, good stream. Yeah, uh, Dan from Nice Podcast, Stupid. Again, I talk about people being helpful to me. One of the biggest helps that I have. Deb is fantastic. So, good night, guys.